The cargo ship Baekdu floated quietly at the edge of Outpost 7's docking zone. Its dark blue hull showed marks of space travel, telling stories of countless journeys through the stars. Inside the ship's bridge, Captain Do-hyun Kim watched with amusement as alien dock workers scrambled to put on their environment suits. "They still think our ship's atmosphere will kill them," he said, shaking his head. The bridge crew shared knowing looks. After 5 years of space trade, they were used to such reactions. Jae-yun Park, the ship's medical officer, stood next to the captain's chair. She held up her data pad, showing the station's atmospheric readings. "The station is running at 0.7 Earth gravity today. They think they're doing us a favor by raising it from their usual 0.3. Do-hyun smiled. Most alien species considered Earth normal conditions to be extremely dangerous. They couldn't understand how humans lived on a planet with such high gravity, fierce weather, and aggressive wildlife. Even now, many space stations adjusted their gravity when human ships docked, thinking that humans needed help adjusting to normal space conditions. The ship's engineer, Tae-won Lee, was working in the engine room when the emergency alarm sounded. A voice crackled over the station's communication system. "Warning. Coolant leak in Sector 4. All species clear the area. Toxic atmosphere alert." Tae-won looked at his readings. The leaked coolant was similar to Earth's liquid nitrogen. To most alien species, it was deadly. To humans, it was just very cold. "Captain," Tae-won called through the ship's comm. "I can help. The station crew won't be able to enter that sector for hours with their safety protocols." Do-hyun quickly agreed. "Take Han-sol with you. And please try not to shock the aliens too much this time." Han-sol Choi, the security officer, met Tae-won at the airlock. They put on basic insulated suits, not the full environmental suits the station required, and walked out. Station security tried to stop them, their multiple eyes wide with horror. "Impossible. Sector 4 is death zone." The head of security chittered in broken standard English. "Atmosphere toxic. Temperature fatal." Q-Ri-yang, the ship's communication expert, stepped in smoothly. "We understand your concern," she said in her diplomatic voice. "However, human environmental tolerance is very different from other species. We can safely handle these conditions." The aliens watched in disbelief as Tae-won and Han-sol entered the deadly sector. The coolant leak had created a fog-like atmosphere, with temperatures well below freezing. To the two humans, it felt like a cold winter day in Seoul. They found the leak quickly. While Han-sol held the broken pipe steady, Tae-won sealed it with a patch. The whole repair took less than 20 minutes. When they returned, the station's medical team insisted on examining them for damage. "Fascinating," the alien doctor exclaimed, waving scanning devices over them. "No tissue damage. No organ failure. How is this possible?" Jae-yun joined them in the medical bay, explaining patiently. "Humans evolved on a planet that experiences extreme temperature variations. Our bodies can handle cold much better than most species." The news of the incident spread quickly through the station. By the time the Baekdu's crew finished unloading their cargo, groups of aliens were gathering to watch them work. They whispered among themselves about the Deathworlders who walked through toxic atmospheres and survived. Later that night, as the crew gathered in the ship's mess hall, Do-hyun looked around at his team. "Good work today, everyone. Though I think we've scared half the station's population." "Did you see their faces when Han-sol carried those heavy crates by himself?" Q-Ri laughed. "They thought he was using some kind of powered armor." "Can't help being strong when you grow up in Earth's gravity." Han-sol grinned, flexing his arms playfully. The crew's laughter was interrupted by a message from station control. A new trade route had opened up, they were told, and several shipping companies were competing for the contract. However, the route passed through an asteroid field that most species considered too dangerous to navigate. Do-hyun looked at his crew, seeing the same excitement in their eyes that he felt. To humans, danger meant opportunity, and they were about to show the galaxy just what Deathworlders could do. Outside the ship's windows, alien ships moved carefully through space, their crews living in carefully controlled environments. But the Baekdu and its human crew were different. They were children of Earth, shaped by one of the harshest worlds known to the galaxy. And they were about to remind everyone why no one dared to tangle with Deathworlders in space. 3 days after leaving Outpost 7, the Baekdu received an unexpected message. Captain Do-hyun sat up straighter in his chair as the holographic display flickered to life. The face that appeared belonged to a Reverian, a species known for their silver skin and sharp business practices. Captain Kim, the Reverian, said coldly, "I am Director Voss of the Stellar Trade Guild. You will withdraw your bid for the Centauri route immediately." Do-hyun kept his face calm, though his crew could see his jaw tighten. "And why would we do that, Director? The route is too dangerous for lesser ships," Voss said. "We wouldn't want any accidents to happen." After the transmission ended, Curie turned to her captain. That was clearly a threat. But why now? Jae-yun wondered, looking up from her medical station. The guild has never bothered with this sector before. Taiwan's voice came through the ship's comm system. "Captain, you should see this." He sent data to the main screen. "I've been checking the trade reports. 3 human ships have been attacked in the past month. The guild claims they were accidents." Do-hyun's eyes narrowed as he read the reports. "Hansol, what do you think?" The security officer studied the attack patterns. "They're testing us, learning how human ships respond under pressure. These weren't random attacks." The bridge fell quiet. Everyone knew what this meant. The Stellar Trade Guild was powerful, controlling most of the safe trading routes, but they had never managed to dominate the dangerous paths the human ships regularly traveled. "They're afraid," Jae-yun said suddenly. "Remember how the station workers reacted to us. The guild is realizing that humans can handle routes their ships can't." A new message flashed on the screen. This time it was from another human ship, the Soul Star. Their captain reported being harassed by guild enforcer ships. They had survived by flying through an electrical storm that the guild ships wouldn't dare follow them into. "Check our weapons," Do-hyun ordered Hansol. "Quietly. Make it look like regular maintenance." "Already on it," Hansol replied with a grim smile. "I also called some old military friends. We're not the only ones getting threats." Curie spent the next few hours monitoring guild communications. "They're spreading rumors," she reported, "telling everyone that human ships are unsafe, that we take too many risks." "Risks?" Taiwan laughed from the engine room. "I just checked the accident reports. Guild ships crash 10 times more often than human ships in difficult conditions." Do-hyun gathered his crew for a meeting in the mess hall. The room felt tense, but there was also excitement in the air. Humans always did better when faced with a challenge. "The guild doesn't understand us," Do-hyun said, looking at each crew member. "They think they can scare us away with threats and bullying. They don't realize that humans become more determined when someone tells us we can't do something." "What's the plan, Captain?" Hansol asked, cleaning his favorite wrench. Everyone knew he wasn't really planning to fix anything with it. "We continue to the Centauri route," Do-hyun said firmly. "But first, we make a few stops. Pick up some cargo from other human ships. Show the guild we stick together." Jae-yun pulled up a star chart. "The route takes us through the Dragon's Teeth asteroid field. Most guild ships won't go near it." "Exactly," Do-hyun smiled. "They'll have to follow us in if they want to stop us. Let's see how they handle the conditions that we call normal." The crew spent the next hours preparing the ship. Taiwan adjusted the engines for maximum maneuverability. Hansol checked every weapon and defense system. Jae-yun stocked extra medical supplies, while Curie monitored guild ship movements. As they worked, 3 guild enforcer ships appeared on long-range scanners. They were bigger than the Baekdu, heavily armed, and clearly waiting to set up an ambush. "They think they're hunting us," Do-hyun said, watching the tactical display. "They don't realize that on Earth, Our ancestors were always the hunters, never the prey. The Baekdu turned toward the Dragon's Teeth asteroid field, its engines glowing bright against the darkness of space. Behind them, the guild ships followed, not knowing they were about to learn why the galaxy feared Deathworlders. The Dragon's Teeth asteroid field spread out before the Baekdu like a minefield of spinning rocks. Some asteroids were as small as cars, others as large as mountains. They crashed into each other constantly, sending deadly fragments flying in all directions. 3 guild ships still following. Curie reported from her station. They're keeping their distance, but not backing off. Do-hyun studied the tactical screen. The guild ships were arranging themselves in an attack pattern, trying to trap the Baekdu between them and the asteroid field. Ta-1, the captain called through the comm. How are the engines? Running hot and ready, the engineer replied. I've redirected power to the front shields. We can take more hits than they expect. Hansol stood at the weapons console, his fingers hovering over the controls. They're powering up their weapons, Captain. Standard guild protocol says they should be making demands now. Right on cue, Director Voss's face appeared on the main screen. Captain Kim, you are surrounded. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. This is your only warning. Do-hyun smiled calmly. Director, I don't think you understand what you're getting into. You are outnumbered, outgunned, and trapped. Voss sneered. What could I possibly not understand? The difference between hunters and prey, Do-hyun replied, then cut the transmission. Everyone, secure for high-G maneuvers. Jae-yun, what do we know about Reverian physical limits? The medical officer checked her data. They get severe vertigo above 2 Gs. Their inner ear equivalent can't handle quick direction changes, and their reaction time is 3 times slower than humans in stress situations. Perfect. Do-hyun's hands moved across his controls. Ta-1, divert power to artificial gravity. Hansol, target their sensor arrays only. Let's show them why Earth gravity is considered a weapon out here. The Baekdu shot forward into the asteroid field. The guild ships followed, their commanders probably thinking the humans were making a desperate move. They didn't expect what happened next. The human ship spun between 2 massive asteroids, using them for cover. The artificial gravity compensated perfectly, keeping the crew stable while the ship moved in ways that would make most aliens black out. First ship in range, Hansol reported calmly. His military training showed as he fired precise shots at the Lid Guild ship's sensors. The Guild ship tried to dodge, but its crew was already struggling with the high G turns. Their shots went wide, missing the agile human ship completely. Picking up emergency signals from the first ship, Curie said, their crew is experiencing severe physical distress. They're falling back. Jae-yun watched her medical readings of the guild ships with professional interest. Their biosigns are chaos. They've never experienced maneuvers like this. Most of their crew must be unconscious. The second guild ship tried to circle around a large asteroid to catch the Baekdu from above. Do-hyun saw the move coming. He pulled the ship into a tight spiral that would have turned human pilots into paste without their Earth-evolved gravity resistance. Second ship is having engine troubles, Ta-1 reported with satisfaction. They can't maintain power and keep their artificial gravity stable at the same time. Not like we can. The third guild ship, seeing its companions in trouble, tried a desperate attack run. Hansol's fingers danced across his console, sending precise shots that disabled their main weapons. The guild ship's return fire was scattered, its crew too dizzy to aim properly. All 3 ships are withdrawing. Curie announced after a few more minutes of the space dance. They're sending distress calls about crew injuries and system failures. Do-hyun ordered the Baekdu to hold position behind a stable asteroid. The crew watched as the guild ships limped away, their once proud formation now broken and scattered. Send them a message, Curie, Do-hyun said. Tell them this road is open to all ships brave enough and capable enough to handle it. But remind them that next time, we might not be so gentle. The crew relaxed in their seats, the excitement of the battle still buzzing in their veins. They had just shown the guild why humans were different, why Earth's harsh conditions had made them stronger than anyone expected. "Should we continue to the Centauri route?" Hansol asked, already knowing the answer. "Of course," Du-hyun replied. "We have cargo to deliver. And a few more lessons to teach about dealing with Deathworlders." The celebration on the Baekdu's bridge didn't last long. A warning light started flashing on Taiwan's engineering panel. "Captain," he called out, his voice tense, "one of their last shots hit us worse than we thought. The life support system is damaged." Do-hyun quickly checked the ship's status. The main oxygen recyclers were failing. The temperature control systems were also hit. The comfortable 20 degrees Celsius environment was already dropping. "How long to repair it?" he asked. "That's the problem," Taiwan replied. "The damage is in Section 7, near the outer hull. It's going to be cold out there. Really cold." Jae-yun looked at her environmental readings. Temperature in Section 7 is already at -40 degrees Celsius and dropping. The emergency suits won't work well in that kind of cold. Most alien species would have called for rescue immediately. Working in those conditions would kill them quickly. But humans were different. Earth's varying climates had made them tough. "Hansol, help Taiwan with the repairs," Du-hyun ordered. "Curie, send a message to any nearby ships. But tell them we're handling it. No need for rescue." The two crew members headed to the damaged section. They wore their thickest work suits, but these weren't the sealed environmental suits other species used. Humans could handle brief exposure to space-like conditions better than most. "Reminds me of winter training in the military," Hansol said as they reached the damaged area. His breath formed clouds in the freezing air. Taiwan managed to laugh while opening a panel with stiff fingers. "At least there's no snow this time." They worked quickly but carefully. The cold tried to bite through their suits. Ice crystals formed on their tools. But they kept going. On Earth, their ancestors had survived ice ages with much less protection. Back on the bridge, Jae-yun monitored their vital signs. "Their core temperatures are low, but still in safe range," she reported. "Any other species would be dead by now." "Oxygen levels at 60% of normal," Curie added. "Good thing humans can handle low oxygen better than most. Living at high altitudes on Earth prepared us for this." Do-hyun watched the repair team's progress through the security cameras. They moved slower than usual in the extreme cold, but their hands stayed steady. Earth's gravity had made human muscles and bones naturally stronger than most species in space. "Main power circuit is fixed," Taiwan reported after an hour of work. His voice shook slightly from the cold, but his tone was proud. "Moving on to the oxygen recyclers." "Take a break," Du-hyun ordered. "Warm up first." "No need, Captain," Hansol replied. "We're already here. Might as well finish it." This was another human trait, the ability to push through discomfort to complete a task. The repair took another 2 hours. By the end, both men were shivering hard, but the job was done. The life support systems hummed back to life, slowly warming the ship back to normal temperatures. In the medical bay, Jae-yun checked them over. "Minor frostbite on your fingers," she told them. "It'll heal quickly. Human tissue regeneration is faster than most species." "The guild ships would never believe this," Curie said, bringing them hot drinks. "Their crews need full environmental suits just to handle small temperature changes. That's why they'll never understand us," Du-hyun replied. He looked at his crew with pride. "They think we're crazy for living on Earth, with its extreme temperatures, different gravity zones, and varying oxygen levels. They don't realize these challenges made us stronger." Taiwan flexed his warming fingers. "Should we tell them that some humans go swimming in frozen lakes for fun?" Everyone laughed. The ship was warming up, the oxygen levels were rising, and the crew was safe. To them, this had just been another challenge to overcome. "Plot a course through the rest of the asteroid field," Du-hyun ordered. Let's deliver our cargo on time. Show everyone that it takes more than a damaged ship to stop Deathworlders. Outside in space, other ships' crews would tell stories about the humans who worked in killing cold without environmental suits. The legend of the Deathworlders grew stronger, while the Baekdu continued its journey, its crew ready for whatever space threw at them next. After fixing the life support systems, the crew of the Baekdu gathered in the command room. It was time to make a plan. Captain Do-hyun stood at the main display, showing a map of the surrounding space. "The guild thinks they've scared us," he said. "They expect us to run away and hide. That's what other species usually do." Kyuri raised her hand. "I've been listening to guild communications. They're telling everyone that they chased us off. They're trying to look strong. Then they're in for a surprise," Hansol said with a smile. He pulled up images of the asteroid field on another screen. "I've been studying this area. There's something interesting here." The security officer pointed to a dense cluster of asteroids. "These rocks are rich in metal. They mess up ship sensors. If we hide in there, the guild won't see us coming." Taiwan looked excited. "I can adjust our engines to use the metal content. Make us even harder to detect. But the radiation levels there are high." "How high?" Jae-yun asked, already checking her medical data. "Enough to kill most alien species in an hour," Taiwan replied. "But humans can handle it for a few days. Earth's background radiation made us tougher." Do-hyun nodded. This was perfect. The guild would never expect them to hide somewhere so dangerous. They thought all species feared radiation as much as they did. "Here's the plan," the captain said. "We'll hide in the metal asteroids and wait. The guild will send more ships to look for us. When they pass by, thinking the area is too dangerous, we jump them." Hansol finished, grinning. "Classic Earth predator tactics. Wait in a spot where your prey thinks nothing can survive." The crew spent the next few hours getting ready. Taiwan adjusted the engines to run silent. Hansol prepared the weapons, while Jae-yun gave everyone radiation protection pills, just enough to be safe, but not enough to look suspicious to alien scanners. Kyuri kept listening to guild communications. 3 more ships are coming. Bigger ones this time. They're angry about looking weak." The Baekdu slipped quietly into the field of metal asteroids. The radiation meters clicked faster, but the crew stayed calm. They had all grown up on a planet that naturally produced radiation. Their bodies could handle levels that would make other species panic. They waited for 6 hours. The ship stayed dark and quiet, like a waiting tiger. Then Kyuri's console lit up. "Guild ships approaching," she whispered, even though no one could hear them in space. "They're scanning the area, but their sensors are confused by the metal asteroids." "Just like a cloudy day on Earth," Do-hyun said softly, "when you can't see well, but you know exactly where you're going." The guild ships moved closer, their crews probably feeling safe, because they thought nothing could live in such high radiation. They never saw the Baekdu power up its engines. "Now," Do-hyun ordered. The Baekdu shot out from behind a large asteroid. Before the guild ships could react, Hansol fired precise shots at their engines. The guild crews were so surprised that they barely managed to shoot back. "Their crews are panicking," Kyuri reported, listening to their communications. "They're calling us crazy for hiding in the radiation zone." "Got the first ship's engines," Hansol called out. "They're dead in space." The second guild ship tried to run, but Taiwan's engine modifications let the Baekdu move faster than they expected. 2 more shots, and that ship was drifting too. The third ship surrendered without a fight. They had just watched a primitive human vessel take down 2 of their best ships from what they thought was a death zone. "Send them a message," Do-hyun told Kyuri. "Tell them this is their last warning. The guild either learns to share the trade routes, or they learn why Earth animals are the galaxy's most feared predators." As the guild ships called for help, the Baekdu's crew celebrated their victory. They had shown why humans were different, why living on Earth with all its dangers, had made them stronger than anyone expected. "Should we continue to our delivery now?" Ta-Wan asked. "Of course," Du-Hyun replied. "We're already late, and Deathworlders always keep their promises." Director Voss sat in the guild's emergency meeting room, staring at the reports with all four of his eyes. Around him, other guild leaders watched recordings from their defeated ships. No one spoke. They were too shocked by what they had seen. "How?" Voss finally asked. "How did they survive in that radiation zone? How did their bodies handle those high-G maneuvers? It's impossible." Jae-Yun's face appeared on their main screen. The Baekdu's medical officer had asked to explain things to the guild council. Captain Do-Hyun had agreed. Sometimes the best way to stop a fight was to help your opponent understand why they couldn't win. "Let me tell you about Earth," Jae-Yun said calmly. "The planet humans call home." She showed them images of Earth's different environments. Frozen poles where temperatures dropped below -50 degrees Celsius, burning deserts that reached 50 degrees Celsius, deep oceans with crushing pressures, mountains with thin air that would suffocate most species. "This is where we evolved," she explained. "A planet with gravity almost twice what you consider normal. A world where radiation naturally seeps from the ground in many places." The guild leaders watched in horror as she showed them Earth's weather. Hurricanes that could flatten cities, earthquakes that shook whole continents, volcanoes that filled the sky with ash. "Our ancestors survived all of this," Jae-Yun continued, "generation after generation, living through conditions that would kill most species instantly. It made us different, made us stronger." She showed them human medical data. Bones dense enough to support movement in high gravity, muscles that could work with little oxygen, skin that could handle extreme temperatures, bodies that could repair radiation damage. "Humans don't just survive these conditions," she said. "We thrive in them. Some of us climb mountains for fun. Others dive in frozen lakes. We have races across burning deserts." Voss leaned forward. But your technology, your ships, they're not as advanced as ours." The next image showed ancient humans hunting huge animals with simple spears. "We didn't need advanced technology to become the planet's top predators," Jae-Yun explained. "We had something better. Adaptability. Endurance. The ability to keep going when other creatures had to stop." She showed them more recent images. Humans working in space, repairing ships without full environmental suits. Human athletes performing in different gravities. Human colonies starting on worlds other species considered too harsh. "Do you understand now?" she asked. "Why we can fly routes you consider too dangerous? Why we can repair ships in conditions that would kill your crews? Why we don't fear the harsh parts of space?" One of the guild leaders spoke up. "Your whole species. You're all like this. Every human is born on a death world," Jae-Yun replied. "Every one of us grows up handling conditions you consider lethal. It's not just our bodies. It's in our minds too. Earth taught us to face challenges, not run from them." The recording ended. The guild leaders sat in silence, finally understanding what they were dealing with. They had thought humans were just another spacefaring species. Now they realized the truth. They had been fighting creatures shaped by one of the most dangerous planets in known space. "Cancel the trade route restrictions," Voss ordered. "Send messages to all guild ships. Tell them that human vessels have full rights to all routes. And add a warning." "What warning?" another leader asked. "Tell them what we learned today," Voss said quietly. "That humans are Deathworlders. That they evolved on a planet that makes our worst nightmares look safe. And most importantly—" He paused, remembering how easily the Baekdu had defeated their best ships. "Tell them that no one, ever, should try to bully humans in space." As the messages went out, thousands of alien crews would learn why humans were different. Why they could do things other species couldn't. Why trying to fight them was like trying to fight the forces of nature itself. The age of underestimating humans was over. The age of respecting Deathworlders had begun. News traveled fast in space. Within days, every trading post and space station was buzzing with stories about the Baekdu and its battle with the guild ships. Each telling made the story more dramatic, but the truth was amazing enough. The Baekdu had just finished unloading its cargo at Nova Station when Do-hyun noticed something different. The alien dock workers weren't running away from them anymore. Instead, they watched the human crew with a mixture of fear and respect. Captain Kyuri called from her communications station. "You won't believe how many messages we're getting. Every trading company in 3 sectors wants to work with us." Taiwan laughed as he checked the ship's systems. "Yesterday they thought we were crazy. Today they want to be our friends." A group of young aliens approached Hansol as he supervised the cargo loading. They were carrying tools and repair equipment. "Teach us," one asked in broken standard English. "How to work in hard places, like humans do." Hansol looked at Do-hyun, who nodded. This was better than fighting. If other species could learn to handle tough conditions, space would be safer for everyone. First lesson, Hansol told them with a smile. Start small, build up your strength, just like we did on Earth. In the station's medical center, Jae-yun found herself surrounded by alien doctors. They had thousands of questions about human biology. How could humans heal so quickly? How did they handle radiation? Why didn't extreme temperatures kill them? Our bodies learned these tricks over millions of years, she explained patiently. Earth was a harsh teacher, but it made us strong. The station's news screens showed reports from all over the galaxy. The Guild had officially announced that all trade routes were open to human ships. More importantly, they had published Jae-yun's presentation about Earth and human capabilities. "Look at this," Kyuri said, showing her tablet to the crew. Other human ships were reporting similar changes. Aliens who used to avoid them were now asking for help with dangerous missions. Routes that were considered too risky were being opened with human ships leading the way. "They're calling us the hardy ones now," she added. "Some are even saying we should teach space survival classes." Do-hyun watched as more aliens approached his crew, asking questions and seeking advice. This was better than any victory in battle. Instead of fearing humans, other species were learning from them. A small alien child, looking like a blue fuzzy ball with eyes, rolled up to Do-hyun. "Is it true?" It squeaked. "Humans swim in frozen water for fun." "Some of us do," Do-hyun replied kindly. "Just like some of us climb mountains or run through deserts." "Why?" the child asked, all its eyes wide with wonder. "Because Earth taught us that hard things make us stronger," Do-hyun explained. "That facing challenges helps us grow." Later that evening, the crew gathered in their favorite corner of the station's recreation area. Other species, who once avoided them, now sat nearby, listening to their stories about Earth. "Tell us about rain," one alien asked. "About water falling from the sky." "Tell us about snow," another chimed in. "About frozen water that covers the ground." The crew took turns telling stories about Earth, about its changing seasons, its powerful storms, its deep oceans and high mountains. With each story, the aliens understood better why humans were the way they were. "Maybe we should start a school," Jae-yun suggested. "Help other species build up their strength safely." "Already working on it," Kyuri said. 10 stations have asked us to help set up human-style training programs." Do-hyun smiled as he watched his crew share their knowledge. The galaxy had feared Deathworlders because they didn't understand them. Now they were learning that humanity's strength could help everyone grow stronger. "Next stop is Earth," he announced. "Some of our new friends want to see where Deathworlders come from. Under safe conditions, of course." The crew nodded. They would show the galaxy that being strong didn't mean you had to be feared. Sometimes, it meant you could help others become strong too. 1 year after the Baekdu's famous battle with the guild ships, the galaxy was a very different place. The ship landed smoothly at Central Spaceport, now the biggest trading hub in the sector. Captain Do-hyun smiled as he saw the changes their actions had caused. The docking bay had two different gravity settings now, one for regular ships and one for ships from high-gravity worlds like Earth. Signs in multiple languages warned visitors about the different zones. "Look how far we've come," Curie said, pointing to a large screen. It showed the new space safety rules. At the top was a warning. All safety standards now include Deathworlder levels. Han Sol walked through the station's training center, where he taught survival classes twice a week. Aliens of all species practiced emergency repairs while wearing lighter versions of spacesuits. They were learning to work in tougher conditions, building up their strength slowly. "Remember," he told his students, "humans didn't get strong overnight. Earth took millions of years to shape us. You're doing great by taking small steps." In the medical wing, Jia-Yun had her own research team. They studied how different species could safely build up resistance to radiation, extreme temperatures, and high gravity. Her medical papers were the most read documents in the galaxy's scientific database. "The key is adaptation," she explained to a group of alien doctors. "Just like Earth's creatures adapted to different environments, other species can slowly become stronger too." Taiwan's engine designs had become the new standard for spaceships. He had created systems that could work in both normal and extreme conditions. Ships now had special survival rooms with Earth-like gravity and atmosphere, where crews could build up their strength. "Every ship should be ready for anything," he told his engineering students. "Space is harsh. We need to be prepared." The Stellar Trade Guild had changed the most. Director Voss himself now led the Deathworlder integration program. The Guild's ships had human advisors on board, teaching crews how to handle tough situations. "We were wrong about humans," Voss admitted during a space conference. "What we saw as reckless was actually well-trained confidence. What we thought was crazy was actually natural adaptation. They showed us a better way to travel in space." The Baekdu's crew had become legends. Young aliens played with action figures of Du-Hyun, Jia-Yun, Ta-Wan, Han Sol, and Curie. They told stories about the human ship that changed how everyone thought about space travel. But the biggest change was in how species worked together. Human ships now led the way into dangerous areas, but they didn't go alone. Other species followed, learning and growing stronger. Together, they explored parts of space that everyone once thought were impossible to reach. "Captain," Curie called out, checking her messages. "The New Earth Training Center is ready to open. They want us to speak at the ceremony." Do-Hyun gathered his crew for the event. The training center was built to help other species experience Earth-like conditions safely. It had rooms with different gravity levels, temperature zones, and even a pool for water training. "A year ago, everyone thought we were crazy," Do-Hyun said in his speech. "They couldn't understand why we lived the way we did. Now they see that Earth's harsh conditions weren't a curse. They were a gift. They made us strong enough to help others become strong too." The crowd cheered. Humans and aliens stood together, no longer separated by fear or misunderstanding. The galaxy had learned that being a Deathworlder didn't mean you had to be dangerous. It meant you could teach others how to survive. "What's next for the Baekdu?" a young alien reporter asked. "We keep exploring," Do-Hyun replied, looking at his proud crew. "We keep teaching. And we keep showing the galaxy that the strongest creatures aren't the ones who stand alone, but the ones who help others stand with them." As the Baekdu prepared for its next mission, its crew knew they had changed the galaxy forever. No one would ever again dare to tangle with Deathworlders in space, not because they were afraid, but because they had learned to respect and learn from them instead.